Hi, it's Batch here from Car Test Lab. Today we're going to be looking at that, the BYD Sealion 7. So this is it then, the BYD Sealion 7. It's going to be sitting around the Seal in the model range in BYD's UK lineup, and because it's got the Sealion 7 name, it shows you that it's part of the Ocean range, hence why the front does look very similar to perhaps the Seal, with these kind of very jaunty headlamps with their day running light there, and the BYD badge proudly shown on the bonnet there. This is a coupe SUV, so its main rivals are going to be the Tesla Model Y, the Ford Mustang Mach-E, and the Skoda Enyaq Coupe, for example. And what do you think to the styling? I mean, it's got a very kind of coupe-ish look to it, hasn't it? This car is the top spec excellent, so it's got big 20-inch wheels, this big plastic cladding in a sort of a squared off design. And yeah, it's got a kind of a rakish look to it. Personally, I'm not massively enamoured with it, but I could see this doing actually quite well. It does stand out from its chief competitors, I have to say. Of course, we've got the pop-out door handles, which every electric car these days seems to have. And then moving around to the back, you can see we've got the inevitable light bar that goes all the way around the back of the car. We've got twin spoilers, so we've got a spoiler right at the top here, and then a ducktail spoiler just there. So the air is designed to go under here, down the back of the car, and then get flicked up to improve aero efficiency. These rear lights are designed to look like waves, the water droplets, keeping with the whole ocean theme. There are two battery sizes, 82.5 kilowatt hours and 91.3 kilowatt hours. You can get this car as a single motor, rear wheel drive, 308 brake horsepower, and that comes with the smaller battery. You're going to get around 300 miles from that car, claims BYD. The next spec up is a dual motor with 523 brake horsepower, the same 82.5 kilowatt hour battery and a range of 283 miles. And then the biggest battery, again, 523 brake horsepower and 312 miles. Now, I've also got to talk to you just about charging. Now, this car is pretty unusual. The maximum charging rate of the big battery is 230 kilowatts, which means a 10 to 80% recharge will take just 24 minutes. Lastly, this car comes as standard in the UK with a heat pump, which is fantastic for winter efficiency, and also vehicle to load. V2L, you can charge other items from this car, such as a kettle, electric bike, and the max charging rate of that is 3.3 kilowatts. In the boot, and excuse all of our luggage here, but it shows you just how big this boot actually is. So it's 520 litres with the seats up and 1,789 litres with the seats down. This car's also got a frunk, 58 litres up front. So this car is pretty practical. It's not particularly tall, it's this boot, and it's not particularly deep, but you're going to get more than enough shopping and what have you. It's going to be absolutely fine for the job in hand. There's also a little BYD rubber mat there as well. So yeah, it's not the biggest boot in the class, but it's going to be decent enough. In the back, and the rear doors open nice and wide, which is great for families. And despite this being a coupe SUV, the headroom is pretty good. I'm 5'11", I had more than enough headroom. Knee room is absolutely fantastic. This car's also got a glass roof. It is the largest glass roof, the longest glass roof, and my apologies, in the class, and it really does add to the airiness. It feels very, very spacious back here indeed. We've got a little armrest here, as you'd expect, with a couple of cup holders. There's another little cubby there. Not entirely sure what you'd put in there, but it's still there nevertheless. Of course, there is Isofix points in both outer seats. I like this. On the back of the seats we've got normal pockets but twin pockets up there to put your iPhone and what have you, so that's really good for your kids. Heated rear seats as well, and the fit and finish is really very good. Inside the Sealion 7, and if you've been inside the Seal, the BYD electric saloon, this interior won't come as a surprise because the quality is really very impressive indeed. Everything you touch feels incredibly well put together. I love this sort of design. BYD call it a wing design. That's the door handle there. But everything just feels incredibly well put together. The seat fabrics all feel of good quality. It just feels a quality item, does this car. Now, of course, the touchscreen dominates proceedings. It's 15.6 inches. Of course, there is the BYD party trick where you can rotate it. It's a bit of a gimmick, I have to say, because once it's in that position, I think it's a bit too tall for the dashboard. Probably for most owners, the default position will be in that configuration. It's got new software. It just seems to be a lot easier to use than the systems in the Seal and the Dolphin, for example. You've got a row of shortcut buttons here which are configurable. And yeah, it just looks a lot better as well. Moving over to the driver's cockpit display. Now, unlike a lot of cars, it's not like a screen that's sort of attached to the dashboard. It's actually inset sort of way. It's just part of this whole panel that runs across the dashboard. You might have just seen it there, but there we are. So that there's like ambient lighting. It forms part of that screen there. And the whole dashboard has this floating effect thanks to that ambient lighting. There's over 120 different ambient lighting colours you can choose from. We've got wireless phone charging with a little fan there, which is great because, as we always know, wireless charging really heats up your phone. Moving to the steering wheel, it all feels very nice indeed. Look, we've actually got physical buttons, which is lovely. Moving down to the centre console, we've got this little stubby gear selector here. You've got your drive mode here, the brake regeneration, but of course, because this is piano black, it does pick up the fingerprints. You can see them there. A couple of cup holders there, and an absolutely massive cubby hole in there. So there we are then, that is the BYD Sealion 7. UK pricing is yet to be confirmed, but it's probably going to be starting around the mid-40s into the high 50s. If you've got any questions about this car, drop them in the comments box below. And of course, if you've liked this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel.